Today's movie is Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot. It's directed by Gus Van Sant, and it came out in 2018. After nearly dying in a car accident, the last thing organ slacker John Callahan intends to do is give up alcohol. Encouraged by his girlfriend and a charismatic sponsor, Callahan reluctantly enters a treatment program and discovers that he has a knack for drawing. The budding artist soon finds himself with a new lease on life, when his edgy and irreverent newspaper cartoons gain a national and devoted following.
We're going to be talking all about the plot, the characters, the pacing, the music, and the lovely cinematography. If I could describe this movie with one word, it would be hopefulness. Welcome, welcome. So what is our movie today?
We watched Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot.
Yeah, I just watched this one a few hours ago.
1 hour ago, exactly.
Yeah, you did the same.
So what are your just general thoughts after watching
thoughts? I think it's a really, character-driven story, and it's a really hope-filled, story of this alcoholic who, turns his life around after even being paralyzed, and it's just really heartwarming. And there's so many hopeful moments in there, just beautiful moments that make you so happy to see, and they lifted my spirits this morning for sure.
Yeah. There's some sad parts, but overall, super uplifting movie.
I think the sad parts were overshadowed by the uplifting parts.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
It was, especially when the boys come over, they're skateboarding over, and they help him up. And this is early in the movie, because, we get the beginning, middle, and end at the start, right? And they just come over and help him, right? And it was just so wholesome. They're like, here you go, we're going to help you up, and then they see his drawings, and they're just happy to see it. And then they invite him to the skate park. They're just so nice.
It's powerful because a group of boys skating is not necessarily known for being nice and going out of their way to help people.
Exactly, and it's just this different thing.
Yeah.
Based on the stereotypes, maybe, that they might be troublemakers or whatever. It was.
Yeah, I like that they take the time afterwards to just look at his drawings.
Yeah, and they liked it. They laughed at him.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
What did you think of his drawings? Did you like them? Did you think they're funny?
Yeah, I love him. That style is pretty funny. Yeah. My sort of humor, for sure.
It is. The drawings were. It was a lovely style. You can't hate it.
And it's so good because he's limited. If he was a better drawer, his cartoons, his comics would not be as good, in my opinion. That's his extent of what people look like when he tries to draw them.
Right.
I don't think he could go too much more in depth. He's drawing with two hands. We see him at the beginning there. Yeah. As a result of his accident, his style is amazing.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just simplistic in nature, and people like simplicity.
Yeah.
Simple things are easy. Not much to choose from. Your brain doesn't have too much to focus on. There's no clutter. It just makes sense.
And you can focus on the comedy, which is
funny.
Great.
Some of the ones I didn't get them.
Which one?
The one about the lesbians keep out. I didn't laugh at it. It was.
Well, I don't know. I didn't laugh either, but I think it was just poking at. They're starting to look weirder and weirder. I don't know if I can say that.
The one about the clan, wearing the sheets. Oh, I love it when they're warm out of the dryer. That
was pretty funny.
That was hilarious. I was laughing so hard. That one was really funny, right?
Yeah.
And how he goes to the lady to apologize, and she helps him.
Which time?
With the clan one with the hat.
Oh yeah. That's when it happened. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when it happened. When he's apologizing in front. Yeah, it's great drawings.
For sure.
So it is a drama comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think, in that order, right? Drama, comedy. It was definitely a drama first. It was really subtle on the comedy there. There was some funny moments, but it wasn't a blatant, flat-out comedy, but like an Adam Sandler movie.
That's true. I wouldn't even call it a comedy. It's expected to have some funny parts in all movies.
Yeah,
despite it being comedy or not.
That's true. Well, it's good to laugh. Some movies I don't laugh at all.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, definitely.
A couple laughs.
A couple laughs by, I don't know, the jokes, and definitely the drawings was the most laughing point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a drama first.
100%. Yeah, it's a super good storyline. It was a true story.
Yeah, true story.
Again.
I didn't find out it was a true story till the end.
Did you figure, halfway through, it's got to be a true story?
Yeah, so halfway through, I was, thinking about it, and I was gonna look it up, right? Is this a true story? But I felt it would take away from the story, because if they wanted me to know it was a true story, they would have told me at the start. But they told me at the end on purpose.
That's a good point.
And so it was good to leave it until then. And you get to the end, and you're like, oh, it's a true story. And then it's that extra bit of hope. It's like, this is a real person who went through this, and he had this great turnaround in his life, and
Yeah, for sure.
there's salvation for everyone. You can really improve your life if you put your mind to it,
Yeah.
and if you want.
I mean, this guy had two massive, I guess you could call them tragedies. The one being paralyzed, two, a very, very severe case of alcoholism.
Yeah. But in the movie, they really focus on the alcoholism first, paralyzed second. It wasn't like that movie with Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart. And so Bryan Cranston, he's paraplegic. He can only move his mouth and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin Hart is his, servant. He's helping him out. And that movie is focused on the relationship and how the disability affects his life. And it's him, learning to feed him, and how, not to waterboard him when he's washing him. Whereas in this movie, it was more just, he's an alcoholic who happens to be paralyzed. I really liked his character, just the little things he does. He zooms through everywhere he goes, just full speed.
I don't see how he doesn't topple over, because those big wheels in the back are what's power.
Once.
But no, when you accelerate, you're gonna go backwards, I thought.
Yeah,
but it worked. Looked cool.
Weight
Looked like a little bobblehead. He was sure bouncing around in there.
Yeah, he's just going along, do. But I don't know. That really just shows you a part of him, that he's just, I don't know, careless in a way. And that he's just...
He's free. He experiences freedom in those moments.
He's
I
free.
like the scene when his girlfriend's on the wheelchair with him. That's cool too.
Yeah.
And they're flying down the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was nice. Oh, was she in his lap or was she behind him?
Both.
Oh yeah, standing on the back.
Standing on the back and then on his lap.
Yeah, that was a nice scene. That's something he can control.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving a sense of control to him driving around.
And then having a responsibility, if not dumping her off as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is that. Yeah. So there were some interesting cinematographic choices in the movie. I don't know if that's how you say it. With the zoom. Movies don't usually have zoom. Do you notice the zooming?
I don't know if I did.
So at the start, so much zooming. In the first AA meeting, it's zoom in here, zoom in there.
Just on their faces and stuff.
Yeah, just on their faces. And I couldn't really come to a conclusion on why he would do that, because zooming is not common. It kind of most of the time takes you out of the movie, because it seems like then you really get that somebody's controlling and somebody's zooming, and then you realize you're in a camera. Or like in The Office, they have lots of zooming, but it makes sense because there are people filming it. We know that. That's a part of the story, that there's people behind the camera. They're characters. We don't see them. They're characters, right?
Yeah.
And in this movie, it wasn't the case. But I found it didn't take me out of it too much.
Well, I mean, what you just said, your example, that was at the beginning of the movie, and I think they were intending for us not to know whether or not he was at this Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. I don't think they ever showed his face there. And at that point, we didn't even know he was into alcohol, did we?
No, we didn't. That's true.
So maybe that has something to do with it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was just an interesting choice, and I don't know why he did that, but he did do that.
I'm not sure.
Gus Van Sant,
Yep.
the director's choice there. He also directed Good Will Hunting, which is
Another good movie.
one of my favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great movie, and so I kind of had high expectations in terms of the direction or how the director handled the movie. He also had a part in writing it too.
Yeah.
So I think it was a good movie though.
Did it live up to your expectations?
It did not live up to Good Will Hunting, but he really got those hopeful scenes right in this one also.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of hopeful scenes in Good Will Hunting. Same thing here. It was very hope-filling. The boys helping him going around showing people his drawings was just wonderful.
That was heartwarming. Yeah.
Yeah, him driving around here. Look at this. Look at this.
Mhm.
And you're just happy for him. You're
Yeah.
just glad he's showing people his drawings, and
And
he's happy, so I'm happy. You know.
and then the few people who do complain, I don't know, he's in so much joy with this. He brushes it off like
Yeah,
nothing happened.
he was unaffected. It wasn't about him being put down by
Mhm.
the critics who don't like his drawing because it's offensive or whatever.
Yeah, he was just happy to do his thing because he
Yeah.
knew most people liked it.
Yeah, and it was just very nice.
For sure.
Okay,
What
so
you saying?
so what did you think when you saw Jonah Hill?
I mean, I barely recognized him with that huge beard. That
The
was
huge beard and the long hair.
Yeah, yeah.
Was it the beard or the hair that threw you off?
probably both.
Okay.
He doesn't have a beard in other movies. Does not have long hair in other movies.
That's true. He is a very interesting character.
But him as a character, I loved him a lot.
He
was a great
an
character.
interesting character.
Mhm.
I don't know. John was a alcoholic first, but we didn't see much of that.
Mhm.
And then he was these other traits second. He was the person who was leading AA. He was I don't know
Sponsor.
sponsor. He was
Yeah.
a sponsor. He lives in a huge house. Who was also gay, and
Well, later we find out all of these, not issues, but maybe potential reasons why he was drinking.
yeah, and
He's gay. He's got AIDS. So he's sick.
he's sick. Yeah, it's,
I guess we don't know whether or not he had AIDS before or after he
Right.
started drinking.
Yeah, we don't know that. That's a mystery to us.
But slowly we see into his life a bit more and how hard it really is.
Yeah, you think it would be so easy to live in a big house and just kind of have everything handed to you, but there are some downfalls that come with that,
For sure.
and he exemplified that well.
Yeah.
Showing that you can fall far, but you can always bring yourself back. Also on the topic of Donnie,
Mhm.
he in his final speech, right before he died, when he's talking with John,
Yeah.
we don't see the death obviously in the movie, but he says that he was selfish by taking a bunch of people on as sponsors, being a sponsor for a bunch of people.
Because it made him feel good.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the case at all. I think that's just he's being too hard on himself. That's not selfish at all to think that,
Yes. I think he was saying that to
John?
I think he was saying that to John for John. So
Right.
John, it wasn't that John was too hard on himself, but John didn't know what to forgive himself for. So when he said this, I think it brought to light that John really needed to focus on what he needed to forgive himself for.
Yeah.
He sort of used himself as an example there.
Right, and then he's showing that it can be easy to forgive yourself.
Yes.
So this is the first time in a while that I've noticed music in a movie. And so the music producer, Dan Elfman, his music would just invoked a specific happiness in you. It was so uplifting. That scene where he's just cruising down at the start of the movie and then he falls over. It was so uplifting until that moment, just a free man driving around. And he just put a lot of uplifting music in there. It was specifically happy, but then there was kind of some slight sad moments when he wanted you to be sad, It was just that little bit of sadness put in there, but it was mostly happy, and so you knew something slightly bad might happen, or not everything's going perfectly. And so I really liked the music. It added to the hopefulness of this movie.
For sure. It sort of retained our attention a little bit more.
Yeah. If I could describe this movie with one word, it would be hopefulness.
Yeah, that's good. Not the whole movie's hopefulness, though. But yeah, I guess as a general one word.
The one word,
No,
right?
that's good. That's good. I like that.
That's my one word for the movie.
Nice.
If you had one word for the movie, and you can think about this, what would it be? What would be your one word?
Probably rebirth. I think the life he was living before his accident was taking him down a path that without something big happening to him, he would never have been able to do the 180 he did with the accident. So he would have kept drinking, kept doing all these things. He never would have found his cartoons.
One thing about that, though, is he did keep drinking after his accident.
But I think it was because of his accident and the combination of drinking that he decided not to drink anymore.
So it's still the rebirth, but delayed.
Sure.
And
Sure.
The realization.
But like the turning moment was the accident when he
Right.
he's lying there paralyzed and he's just sitting there like,
yeah.
Yo, how is this gonna work? Yeah, I think that's when his mind started to switch.
It's a good one word as well. Could have also said maybe the second word is forgiveness. It's more of a subplot, kind of at the end. It's not.
Well, it's an end of the movie.
It's not the one word, but it's there. It's definitely the forgiveness of him. I don't know, him forgiving people. Because he blamed his mother for everything, and he just needed to forgive her, and his problems would go away.
Well, I think he needed to forgive everybody. The scene with Dexter, I did not know how it was gonna go. I didn't know what to expect.
I expected him to still be drinking, which...
But I thought John would be more mad at Dexter.
Really?
Well, until they started talking about forgiveness. I'm like, oh yeah, he's gonna go graciously. He's gonna forgive him.
I was there thinking about, survivor's guilt.
Well, that's all it was, yeah.
And that Dexter would have.
Well, he had, yeah, and he probably still did.
Yeah,
until
just
he died.
The fact that he didn't get injured.
And he just walked away, didn't contact him again.
Yeah, which is the crazy part. I thought they would be in contact, but they weren't.
To be fair, they met that night, and he was very, very drunk. So maybe he didn't even remember him, but clearly he does.
He does, but I don't know. I thought Dexter was. It was interesting at the start of that conversation because he didn't seem to remember him or was pretending not to remember him or something weird like that.
Well, he was surprised, he was scared, maybe John would be mad.
Right. But
he really had no idea.
Yeah, he was...
Like, this guy just paralyzed him and is seeing him for the first time.
Yeah, that's
true. But I thought it was interesting, it wasn't really... He didn't really forgive him. He apologized to him for making him feel this way, which...
Right.
I mean...
Which is crazy.
It is a little bit weird.
I was waiting for Dexter to also apologize.
Me too. But his actions sort of show that he's also sorry. He doesn't need to apologize.
Right. They're both suffering with something. Dexter more kind of discreetly, in his brain, suffering with survivor's guilt,
Yeah, just acceptance. I think he's just kept pushing it away with alcohol.
Right.
He hasn't had the time or the presence of mind to really face it and deal with his issues.
Yeah, he never took the time. That's a good point. Yeah.
And then also himself. I think that's the biggest journey to forgiveness. Like his mother was second biggest. No, I'm talking about John now. Because although John had blamed his mother for a lot, he blamed himself for even more, I think.
So there was a lot of good acting in that movie.
Yeah.
For sure. Joaquin Phoenix playing somebody who was paralyzed, him not moving. He was good at not moving, that's for sure.
The messing around with his wrists or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure how that sort of happens.
Him adjusting his glasses like that, I was like,
yeah,
I can see that's possible. I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing it too. So when they were on some scenes where he's doing some, very emotional moments, the camera only focused on, the top half of his body. And I think that was to show, like I said earlier, that he was an alcoholic first and he was paralyzed second. Not showing the wheelchair in it at all and just showing his head.
Just like almost zooming in on the fact that he's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
I like that.
Rather than focus on, further out on the wheelchair, right?
Yeah. So why do you think they showed us the start, the middle, and the end sort of right in the beginning? So we got to see sort of his stages of recovery.
Right, and they kept cutting through that.
Yeah.
Throughout the movie, it was jumping forward, jumping back, so you needed a strong understanding of what was happening in the movie.
Mm-hmm,
right?
exactly.
And so the reason I think they did that was to show you the path of recovery. It wasn't a secret, going in, he's going to recover.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, he's going to recover. And so they didn't want to hide that. And so they showed the beginning to show where he started out at, the middle to show how he was going to get there, and the ending to show where he was going to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of laid out the journey for you, and then you experience it. And it just added to the movie in a way, so that I knew what was coming, and it added to the hopefulness there again, because to always have hope, no matter how far he falls, no matter if he gets in an accident, which could have been the low point of the movie. It wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of later on the low point, when he was digging for the alcohol, trying to open the cork, and then it falls under the chair, the couch. That's the low point in his life there. It's not the accident. It was the alcoholism, not being paralyzed.
That's cool. I like that they showed us all three parts in the beginning, because it sort of sticks with you. You're constantly getting to see his growth. So you see him at the beginning, you see him in the middle, you see him in the end, and then throughout the movie you can sort of go back to those points and notice how much he grows in between each of them.
Yeah.
Which is a crazy amount.
Which is a lot. The stark difference between those points in his life are just astonishing.
Mm-hmm.
The amount he changed. We don't know the time frame exactly, but say a year.
Something like that. We have no idea. It could be 10 for all we know, but
could be.
Yeah.
We do see him get a mustache in kind of the earlier days.
Yeah.